Hi, and welcome to the 9th section of the Mastering TypeScript Programming Techniques course on Angular 5. In this section, we'll learn about Angular 5 and create a project, a component, a service, see how to validate forms, how to develop a structural directive, how to use Jasmine and Karma to test the application, and finally, how to build the application. We'll talk about creating a project, and we'll learn how to use the Angular CLI. The Angular CLI is a really convenient tool that we can use when working with Angular applications. It's not only able to create new projects, which are really just applications for us, but it also allows us to add components, services, pipes, routing to the application, and it also allows us to serve applications and build them. In order to get started with the CLI, we need to install it from npm via npm i-g @angular/CLI, making sure that is installed globally. Once it's installed, we can start a new project by typing in ng-new followed by the name of the project. This command will automatically install all the dependencies that we need in order to get started with our Angular application, plus it will also set up tests for us. So let's go ahead and work on creating our first Angular application. The first thing that I'm going to do is to make sure that I have the Angular CLI installed globally from npm. Next up, I'm going to use the ng-new command to create a new Angular application. And I'm going to name this sample app. Notice that it creates the project structure, and it also automatically goes out to npm, and it's going to pull in all the necessary packages that we need in order to start our application. Okay, so we have this sample app successfully created. We can actually open up the folder and we can see that we have a bunch of things created. We have an Angular CLI.json, which I would like to point out to you. This allows us to configure some aspects of our Angular application. So for example, let's say you want to add Bootstrap to your application. You could add the Bootstrap CSS reference into the styles and the jQuery and Bootstrap.js references under scripts. Under E2E, we have the end-to-end tests that Angular has automatically created for us. And under the src folder is where we have the actual source of the application. So in order to see this application in action, we need to go into this folder, and from that folder we need to execute ng-serve. Now ng-serve by default starts a development server on port 4200, and if we want to use a different port, we can specify ng-serve with the -- port flag and specify a different port number. So let's go ahead and launch the development server via ng-serve. So as you can see, the message states a live development server is listening on localhost 4200. So we can open up a browser and go to that address to see our Angular application. I'm going to click this URL in the CLI, and that brings up my Angular application. So the things that you see here are what Angular displays to you by default. We can actually take a look at the source code by going back to Visual Studio Code. The actual source under the src folder and in the app folder, and if you open app component.html, this is the HTML content that is being displayed to us in the development server.